There are plenty of ways that you can simplify your finances in 2008, and I'm going to share with you some of my favorites. First of all, direct deposit. If you're not already taking advantage of this service, you really should. If you can have your paycheck directly deposited into your checking account, you'll find out that it's faster, it's much more efficient, and it's safer than running around with a paper check in your wallet. The time you save in the bank lines alone will make it worth it. Something else you should consider is consolidating your accounts as much as possible. If you've bounced from job to job, as many of us do, you've probably left behind more than a few 401k accounts. There's no reason that they should all be in separate places. You can roll them all into your current employer's plan or roll them all into one IRA. It's really worthwhile to take the time to do this. For one thing, you'll probably wind up paying less in administration and other expenses because the more money you have in one place, the more likely you are to reduce or eliminate those fees. But the real advantage is it's much easier to track your money when it's in only a few places rather than scattered all around. Something else you want to set up at your bank is true overdraft protection. Now, recently banks have slipped in something else. They call it courtesy overdraft or bounce protection. You might not even know that you have it until you wind up inadvertently using it. What happens is when you do a debit card transaction or you write a check for more than you have in your account, instead of stopping the transaction or sending it back, the bank approves it and then they slap you with a $30 to $40 bounce fee. One woman I know downloaded about 16 tunes to fill out her music player and incurred $250 of bounce fees. You don't want that to happen to you. So set up true overdraft protection. And what that is a link between your checking account and a savings account, a credit card, or a line of credit. You pay between $25 and $50 a year for this service, and maybe another small fee of like $10 every time you use it. But that's a small amount of money compared to bouncing even a couple of checks or debit transactions. So you want to go down to your bank and make sure that you have true overdraft protection. One of my favorite innovations is email alerts, and they are increasingly cropping up at banks, at credit cards, at all your financial institutions so that you can be alerted to what's going on in your account. Your bank, for example, might allow you to set up an alert so that you can get an email or a text message anytime your checking account balance falls below a certain amount. If you have email alerts on your credit card, you can be notified when an especially large transaction happens, when you exceed a certain balance, or when a payment has been processed. It can also remind you when your bill is due, which can be very helpful to those of us who tend to forget. So go online, check out your accounts, and see what's available from all your credit cards, from your bank account, and from your brokerage, because these alerts can really help you stay on top of your money. Finally, the last thing you want to consider is to set up a high-yield savings account. People who still have money in brick-and-mortar banks are probably earning less than 1% on their savings. You can go online, set up an account that's electronically linked to your checking account, and earn 4% or better. These accounts are FDIC insured, and they don't have minimums, they don't have fees for using them. So you can start with small amounts and really start to build a nice cushion. This is something everybody should have, an emergency fund of, say, 3 months' worth of expenses. It's hard to get there, but it'll be easier if you have a high-yield savings account working in your favor. You can find these accounts at places like Indirect, Emigrant Direct, HSBC Direct. There's a lot of places to choose from, and it's a way to really help you get a jump start on your savings.